so what I'm going to be explaining is how to calculate what your CPI is, along with trying to sift through how to figure out what to do with some of these restrictions and how to go about taking care of them and getting the right answer. So what this question is actually asking us is what the CPI of the entire program is, and it gives us these restrictions that says that you have no instruction cache misses and 98% of your data cache is hit. So that is basically saying that 98% of the time that you access cache, which remember the only time you will do that is during a load in a store. So this doesn't apply to the ALU or the branches. So that's only going to apply to this load right here and this store right here. Also, all misses cause stalls. So just keep that in mind. So our main goal is to separate out each one of these sections right here into their respective requirements, whatever their CPI is and the stuff that goes with that. So we're going to start with this ALU, and we're going to go, here's 40% right here, and since we have that we have no instruction cache misses. So if that's there, we know that the ALU takes instructions. So if it's saying that we don't have any instruction cache misses, then right here we have no stalls, or no misses rather. So here, and we're going to go to loads, right? So then we have 10% of our entire computer is going to be, of all of our instructions are going to be loads. So we take this 10% and we use this 98% data cache hit rate, and we say 98% of the time we're going to get a hit, right? So that right there is going to give us one cycle whenever it hits, and then we got to account for the other side of that, which is the other 2%. So we're going to go 2% is going to be a miss. Now, one thing that I didn't add on here was that we have a miss penalty of 100 cycles, which may seem a lot, but it's really not that big. But back over here to loads, since you have 2% of these missing, we have this miss penalty that we have to take account of, which is going to be 100 cycles. All right. So now that we have this information that we need from load, we're going to go ahead and move down to branch. And in branch, what we're going to do is, since we have no instruction cache misses, remember, no instruction cache misses, we will have no misses as well right here on the branch. So that in turn results to one cycle, just like up here. Alright, so then what we're going to do is we're going to go down to store. Now remember, this depends on what our percentages are that we're given. It's going to be set up the same exact way as loads. So we're going to have 98% of the time you're going to get a hit, right? So it's going to be the same exact thing. So you get a hit, so then you're going to have what? You're going to have one cycle. And then you have your other, what, 2%? 2% of the time you're going to miss. And then what happens when you miss? You are going to have a penalty of what? A penalty of 100 cycles. Alright. Now you have all this stuff on your paper and you're wondering what it all means and what to do with it now that you have all this and trying to find your CPI. Don't get frustrated, it's not that bad. So if you're trying to find the CPI, don't jump ahead and try to do everything else. It's just systematically, step by step. So we're going to start, and we're going to find the CPI of each individual instruction type, and then we're going to separate them out into their respective percentages that they take up. So first off, we're going to calculate the CPI of our ALU. So what we're going to have here, since we have one cycle, we have no misses. So this is going to give us an average CPI for the ALU. This is going to equal 1. Isn't that awesome? Awesome. So now we're going to go down to loads. So for the loads, we have 98% of the time we get hit, it's going to take one cycle. So we're going to take 0.98, because that's 98%, times one cycle, plus what? The other 2%? 0.02 times what? 100 cycles. So this is going to equal probably somewhere around 2.98. I'm just kidding, I actually have it written down. So we have, now we're going to go down to branch. We're going to find the CPI for branch. And it's going to be the same thing as ALU since there's no misses. Our average CPI is going to equal 1 as well. So then we're going to go down to store, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Just find the CPI of store. Now this CPI is what? We got 0.98 again for 98% times one cycle, plus 0.02 times 100 cycles. This is going to give me the same answer as loads, and this is going to give us a 2.8 CPI. So now you're at this point, or 2.98, sorry. So now you're at this point, and what we want to do is take these CPIs and multiply them by their respective percentages in regards to how much each instruction type is actually active. So we're going to start down here. So we have an ALU CPI equals 1. We have a load CPI which equals 2.98. Branch CPI equals 1. And then we have a store CPI, which is going to be equal to 2.98 as well. So we have these values down here. We're going to take these percentages and multiply them out. So we got ALU is going to be, it's what, 40%? So we have multiply 1 by 0.4, which gives us 0.4 cycles. Okay, and then we're going to have our load CPI, and load takes up what? Load takes up 10%. 10% of all of your instructions. So we got 2.98 times what? Times 10%, so what? 0.1. This is what? We have, oh shoot. My math skills are escaping me. Just move the decimal over. 0.298. Okay. And then we're going to go down to branch. How much does branch take up? Branch takes up 40%. I'm going to go back down here and go 1 times 0.4 equals 0.4 cycles. Then we got our store, which takes up 15%. So we have our 2.98 multiplied by 0.15. This is equal to 2.98 times 5 is equal to 0.447 cycles. Alright, so keep in mind this problem can be done in about 2 lines, and all this is just really spread out so that it's pretty understandable. So after you multiply all these out and find out how many average cycles you have per instruction type, we're going to add all of these together in order to find our average CPI of our actual system. So we're going to have a 0.4 from the ALU plus 0.298 from the load plus another 0.4 from branch plus a 0.447 from store. This is all I'm going to give you so I'm going to give you 1.545. And I believe I'm having a mistake here. The ALU with 0.4. We have our load. Our load isn't at 10%. I apologize for that. It's at 25%. And I looked at that and wrote down 0.1. So instead of 0.298 cycles, we're going to have 2.98 times 0.25. This is going to be 0.745 instead of 2.98. So we'll change this value here as well. And take 0.745. Erase this wrong answer. And what does this get us? We have 0.745 plus 0.4 plus 0.4 plus 0.447. This gives us 1.992. .992 cycles. Is that right? Man, I messed up again. I can't believe that. Branch CPI isn't 40%. If people commit the wrong problem. This isn't 40%. This is 20%. That's not good. This is going to change over here from 0.4 to 0.2. Change this up here. Change this value down to. Does it give us the right answer? That gives us the right answer. Look at that. Through all that hard work, we finally got to the right answer. But that's all you really need to know for your CPI whenever you're trying to find the average CPI, and this is how you deal with some of the restrictions and requirements of all of this. So I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something, and thank you.